this here doesn't, you're not supposed to draw lines like this. This is not how you trade orb, right? The opening range breakout. You want to trade orb in line with where your key levels are and the absorption. I'm going to write that down. So when you're trading the opening range breakout, so the opening range breakout, the way to do it successfully is you want to identify where your key level is, which I've explained in this video. You want to identify where your key level is, and you want to time it with a valid absorption. So that's going to be absorption. Right, you want to time it with a valid absorption. Now once you've timed it with a valid absorption, you can then begin to dissect, okay, this is a 50-minute orb, this is a 5-minute orb, we've tapped into a key level. What is the key level telling me to do? Because the orb, an orb is not a strategy. Like, I speak to so many people, they try and explain to me, I ask them, like, well, how do you trade the orb? They're like, oh, I just wait for it. I just wait for the orb. No, that's not how it works. You want to understand where the market wants to trade. So where is the imbalance? You then want to understand who is aggressive in that key level, and does your orb line up with that? So if you're trying to put orb into a strategy, because an orb is just a concept, you want to put orb into a strategy that works, that's consistent, that's repeatable. That's why we use the order flow method here. So you want to observe what the market's doing, you want to read what it's doing, you want to decode what it's doing, you then want to execute based on what you've decoded, and you want to repeat that, right? Because the orb looks different every day. So the orb is basically a key level, absorption, and if you want to put this into an actual strategy, it looks something like this, right? So a strategy is basically, if I spell that right, strategy. A strategy comes down to three things. It comes down to a key level, then you want to understand where your orb is, and then you want to pair the orb with an absorption. Right? These are the three things that allow you to trade the orb, right? Just trading the orb alone without context of key levels, and even worse, without the absorption, is not going to cut it. You need to put it into a strategy. These are the three things that allow you to do that in the long term. So now that we've done that, right, you then want to start understanding where the rejections were. So there you go. There's your rejection. So once you have this rejection, there are different ways you can enter. I mean, you could enter the market as you're rejecting, stop loss above the orb high, target the orb low. This is one way you can do it, right? So if we just hop up to a 5-minute time frame, right, you're looking for rejections off the key level. And so how I find my key levels and how I confirm my key levels simply comes down to the multiple rejections. So here's 1, here's 2, and then here is 3. So we want to be breaking down each and every one of these steps in detail. So here's our first rejection, here's our second rejection. So there's our second rejection here. So this green candle followed by a big break. Notice how we kind of break the orb or the 5-minute opening range low. Now this is where I'm just going to break down the order flow method from O all the way to W, right? So let's do that, right? So let's